When I first got my first stipend from the bursary that I used, one of the first things that I needed to get for myself was a laptop. Technology is a very crucial part of how universities operate. We cannot imagine life without it. But an issue with it is the turnaround time of it. Almost every 5 years there's something new that we didn't know we needed. With technological devices, we sort of form a stronger bond with it than other types of waste. Having a phone for 5 years means it's not going to be easy for you to just throw it away. So you might keep it in a drawer for another 2 more years, so you've had it for 7 years instead of 5. These are the kind of things that need to go into the container: your outdated wired cords and updated earphones. The reason why the improper disposal of e-waste is a serious threat to our environment and even human health is because of the toxic chemicals that it contains. How I got to the idea for the e-waste initiative was mostly through reading and coming across really interesting statistics about e-waste and the lack of knowledge of young people about it. I felt a strong desire for us to do something about it. Fortunate or maybe unfortunate that the Free State or Central South Africa is under-serviced, so it was easy communicating with the external stakeholders and getting their buy-in because of the lack of collection points or drop-off points for e-waste in Central South Africa. That played a key role in us actually getting the e-waste receptacles on 2 of the UFS campuses. What we are hoping with the e-waste activation launch is to install the sense of responsibility when it comes to our environment amongst the UFS students.
No. I was just going to inform you of the event that we're about to have now.
So that
it's gonna start now
one day when they graduate and go into the world of work, they carry those attributes with them of being responsible citizens when it comes to this age of digitalization that we are now living in.
Officially to everyone so that they can use it. So we have a few things planned for today. We have prizes to be won. We have a few interesting competitions that you guys can participate in. Like I said, that today's event is all about that container.
My small efforts have led to the possible increase of people that are now familiar with what is e-waste and the type of environmental threat it poses.
Can I kindly ask that you guys sign our e-waste pledge that you guys are going to be responsible and discard out your e-waste in that container there.
Things can just start from you reading something that sparks an idea and you actually acting on it. It could grow from there. I realized that it starts with me.
We often say that an audience is made up of one person only. But I think that it's a space that allows for me to express myself and to communicate things that I would otherwise struggle to communicate. I often feel as if my shows are able to speak on my behalf or just show how I feel and make sense of the world.
The other side.
In the doors, they have windows because they're opening both ways.
So theatre does not only happen in the traditional, we call it a proscenium arch theatre space, where it's the cushioned seats, it's the red seats, it's the stage, it's lights. If we look at the word theatre, it's how you make people see things. So a space where people gather to see. And that can happen anywhere. So the space that I'm currently using now for building this installation, even preparing the performance, is a basement that is in a residence on campus. And I think this space just allows for me to build and nurture that within this darkness and dinginess and figure out, the networks, the things that are unseen. This project actually came from a very personal place. I was very bothered by the fact that in 1 second I would be scrolling and I'm seeing someone doing a dance challenge and they are laughing and having fun, and then the next moment I'm seeing a child's limbs on the floor. Because there's war, there's jokes, all in one algorithm. So with this piece, it's going to be a blend of performance and also installation. So I have an installation that is going to be made of solely e-waste and found objects.
Sandile,
Hello.
thank you for helping me.
You're welcome.
Actually got quite some stuff, eh?
There's even a DSTV decoder, but these are the old ones.
I think what is very important for me in using the e-waste as the basis of this conversation that I'm trying to start on digital entanglements is that we can't talk about technology advancing without actually considering what happens to that technology when it's done, when it goes through its life cycle. I think a lot of people forego the fact that there are a lot of practical elements that are involved in performance or just creating artwork. There's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of seeking quotations, there's a lot of organizing space. Definitely physical hard work as well. And it can take a toll. It can really take a physical toll to create the work, yeah. I'll show you what we're going to be working with.
Oh my.
So this is our space. This is the studio space.
It's an interesting one.
So with Danielle and I's process, we are both theatre makers, so trained in device theatre making. So a lot of that is bringing your space, so letting the space inform your performance. So there's a lot that we can do, like putting them on us. So what we are doing is ensemble building at the stage.
Something so interesting because I feel frustrated.
They don't have to be straight.
Yeah.
So we are getting used to our bodies in the space.
Do, don't think.
Do don't think.
Okay. Cool.
Getting used to eye contact. We're getting used to that contact that comes with performing with someone else. And also a bit of improvisation because there's no talking. The purpose of the work is to start a conversation on what it means to be digitally entangled. but also how we make sense of those entanglements and the ways that they compromise our capacities to operate from a position of care and attention towards ourselves and the environment. I think it extends beyond just the environment. It goes down to our humanity and how being so entangled with technologies can really compromise those faculties.
I think that's a start.
I think so. I think so.
I think it's a start.
I felt entangled, I won't lie.
Yeah, a lot. I didn't even.
And where does that leave us as humans and how we interact with each other?
So many ideas. Let's get it. All right. Thank you so
A
much.
small project that is led by one person in a small basement have the potential to spark collective action.
I think I'm just going to clean up here.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Bye. Bye.
In our field, it's not about the far-reaching, it's about little. So it reaches this person first, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. So it can reach those that it's meant to reach then, and if it's reached the correct people, it will go on and on and on and on and on.
The issue of space is really tricky. Okay. Right, let's have a look. Okay. Because this is not the kind of space that we would have wanted for this kind of event. So let's just think about how to make it work. Okay. The real world is not this grey, blank, closed space. That's the real world of the university or the academic environment. So a few years ago, I wanted to start work on a new project, and I'd been doing reading around repair, a bit of reading around the planet and so on. I'd come across Mbembe's work, which I really, really like. The glass is unforgiving on the margins. If you want to address racism, you've also got to think about the role of climate. So these things are all integrated, and I just found that really interesting and figured that, well, this is something which could take me to the end of my formal academic career anyway. I like that. It's a good way of wrapping the story up as well. So the project, put very simply, is set out to try and understand and refine our own understandings as researchers. So I'm Melanie Walker, and my colleague Fenella Somerville is in the front row, of what contributions can higher education make to planetary consciousness formation through the stories that young people put together.
So my photo story is titled From Uswazi to Life, a journey of reconciliation with nature.
As a child growing up in an African household, my earliest connection with the environment was not gentle. I used to see trees as my enemies because in my eyes they were uswazi that my mother would use to discipline me. At home we had a peach tree. It stood tall at the back of our yard. I did not know trees by their names, nor by their beauty, but by their pain.
So it's all about my journey with the environment. So how I started perceiving the environment because of education. My perceptions about trees have changed because I now see them as something that gives us life. It gives us fruits, it gives us shelter.
In one of the discussions, I did say that planetary consciousness starts with personal awakening. So yes, I really learned a lot from this process. Thank you.
I think Fenella and I were incredibly moved by the work that the students did. And I think we've ended up with a very compelling and very powerful collection of stories. And we would invite anybody who cares to write a comment, a word, a phrase, do a drawing if you want, having looked at the stories and thought about all of this. Universities are social institutions, so they're embedded in society and they have a responsibility to society. And I do think there are places where change is possible. They have a key role in what I call the formation of young people. They're forming their knowledge, forming their identities, forming their values and so on. Universities in South Africa, I think, could be doing more. I think they do great research, but I think beyond that. And it needs to be more than just, well, green skills, because you get a lot of the green skills agenda doesn't address the values agenda. And I think that's what underpins all of this. If you don't value the environment, if you don't value the natural world, then I think you're not going to really shift in terms of what you do and how you behave.
The things that are important to me and the values I hold, I try to live them in my daily life. And if we're all doing that, it's something. And then slowly those small changes make bigger changes. And maybe the small pockets of really good teaching, really good assessment, really good research, really powerful projects can ripple out and maybe speak more broadly into the university that change can happen.
I cannot change the world overnight, but I think that as someone who is interested in academia, I can use my education to share awareness with my friends, with my family, and also use social media, since social media is a very powerful catalyst for change.
So I think there is a responsibility on each of us as an individual to try and do things differently as far as we can, accepting that the bigger picture is not a very promising one, but to simply abandon your own responsibility on that basis, I think is crazy. There'd never be change in the world. And then I think there's a collective dimension, and I think that is harder, but I think that's what we've got to do, work on, is try and form collectives, look at strategic intervention points, and wriggle into those and through those as much as we can. But yeah, sure, it's absolutely in our hands.